Aloha all, Paper Mario Guy here, and I just wanted to tell you guys a little story that happened to me just recently, and I figured it was appropriate be considering, I play a lot of video games. Um, so I'd say maybe 5 days ago, 6 days ago, I started thinking pretty hard about the 3DS XL that was recently going to be, which was recently announced. And I'm actually not sure when it's going to come out, but I know it's going to come out soon. And I kind of started to get a little frustrated by it because I was one of those people who bought their Nintendo 3DS on launch date, all the way back in March of 2011. And honestly, I wasn't necessarily disappointed with it. Sure, I didn't have a game for it for like 3 months until the Ocarina of Time remake came out, but, still, I wasn't necessarily disappointed with my 3DS, and in the coming months, I knew that there were going to be more games coming out, and I wound up for Christmas that year getting Mario Kart 7 as well as Super Mario 3D Land, and both of those games are exceedingly fun. So, I was generally pretty pleased with my 3DS, if we're being honest, but like most people, I got rubbed the wrong way when Nintendo decided to announce their drastic decrease in price, because I spent 250 on mine, plus tax and all that, and now is 170. And although they gave us the ambassador games, a lot of those games either I've already played and beaten before, or I could get in another fashion, for just as cheap. Or, it was admittedly nice to get these games and, to still have them to play whenever I want. But in the same respect, it's not necessarily going to make up for an $80 deficit that I might have been able to, buy two more actual 3DS games, or, just any. I mean, $80, you can do a lot with it. So, I was a little frustrated, a little disappointed. So I wrote them a letter. I wrote Nintendo a letter kind of explaining my frustrations. And basically, I cited, I've been a Nintendo user for well over 10 years. I'm actually approaching 15 years. I've been playing Nintendo games for literally as long as I can remember. I have distinct memories of playing Super Mario World when I was 4 years old, and I'm pretty sure I picked up a Nintendo controller of some sort, a little bit before that. So I've been, a loyal, long-lasting customer, and I kind of just felt a little disrespected by this whole XL announcement, because if you look at, Nintendo's history, of course upgrades are going to happen. I understand upgrades are always going to happen, and I'm not naive enough to think that, they weren't going to make upgrades, because I was actually expecting maybe a redesign or something like that, but, whatever. But the thing about Nintendo in the past that I've kind of enjoyed is the fact that their upgrades usually happen over the span of a few years. When the DS came out, it was 2 years before the DS Lite came out, and then it was 3 years before the DSi came out. And, the DSi XL did come out, a year after that, but at that point, you were kind of teetering towards the end of its lifespan. So, I mean, that's kind of like Game Boy Advance Micro territory. So I kind of let it go, and I don't really, that doesn't bother me too much. But, with the 3DS XL, it's kind of one of those things where I would have found out a year ago that, the XL was going to be coming out, a year and a half after the initial launch, and for $50 cheaper, I probably would have reconsidered, how I spent my money, and, when I spent my money. So, like I said, I wrote Nintendo, a little, I guess you can consider it a complaint letter. It's a little lengthy. I posted it on my Facebook page if you would like to read it. It's about like 3 paragraphs, and I kind of just, state to them, hey, I don't really feel like, losing out on $80 I spent, if I were to, sell my current 3DS, and, no retailer in their right mind would buy, a year-old 3DS with, tons of use back for full price. But, even if I did get full price, I would still be down $80, plus all my ambassador benefits, and I would have to fork over the money for the upgrade, which is, $30. So at least $110 plus all of my ambassador benefits would be lost. And I was kind of, a little PO'd about that because I'm not clamoring for the 3DS XL, but I would like to, a bigger screen with, better battery life and all that. There's definitely some things to be had for that. And before anybody comments, I do understand that you can use your system transfer to make take all your benefits and all your things over to the XL, but that's besides the point. So I sent my email out, and I know how big companies work, and I was not necessarily expecting to get a response as quickly as I did, but the next day, lo and behold, I actually received an email with a phone number and a tracking number so they could address my concerns more quickly. And it took me a little bit to check my email because I actually was using an email that I don't actually operate on anymore. But I checked it yesterday, July 1st, and I saw that, I got the response. So I was like, all right. So this morning, July 2nd, I called Nintendo, and I got on the phone with a really nice guy. For the life of me, I cannot remember what his name is, but I know it's different from the person who responded to my email. But, we talked it out. We were on the phone for about a half an hour. I kind of explained my situation. He kind of, explained where Nintendo's coming from and also sympathized with me, and we had a lot of similarities. And my experience with Nintendo was actually really, really nice. And, what kind of came down to, where the man I was speaking to on the phone kind of had his hands tied, but he was nice enough to, provide me with, I don't know how you would say it. I guess not a consolation, but something to just, appease me, kind of keep me, happy and all that, kind of like an apology for, the frustration that it would have, that it's making me in the decision to possibly upgrade. And so now I have, a Classic Controller Pro, a second one, but I wasn't going to complain and I wasn't going to waste any more of this man's time. But I kind of wanted to just share my story with you, not necessarily to say, if you're feeling the same way, to go out and, take advantage of the fact that they'll probably, give you a little something, because that's not what I was doing. But, I just wanted to share, a really pleasant experience that I had with Nintendo's customer service. They were really fantastic the whole way through. The response time of the email and how they handled me on the phone was, nothing less than superb, and about 1.5 billion times better than Xbox's customer service. And honestly, their little gift to me for my frustrations is much better than Xbox. My Xbox 360 red ringed of death twice, and whenever I would call in customer service, I would always get someone who wasn't necessarily the most audible person. I couldn't necessarily understand them. They weren't as nearly as understanding or nice as the Nintendo employee was, and their reward was definitely worse than the reward I'm getting for this. So I just wanted to, kind of share my story with you, my pleasant Nintendo customer service, thing, and just kind of, I don't know. I like Nintendo, and I'm getting excited for the Wii U, and, I am satisfied with my 3DS, although I would like the XL. But I just kind of wanted to, share my experience, and, hopefully, if anybody ever has to contact Nintendo for any reason, their customer service is just as good as mine. And yeah, I mean, I could have talked about this in, one of my Let's Play videos, but I figured, it's too long of a story and I would get interrupted, and I figured I'd just make a separate video about it. So, yeah. Hopefully this amused you or informed you or something like that. And like I said, if you want to read the email that I sent to them, it's on the KoopaNinjaBros Facebook page. And yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to do. Hope everybody's summer is going by, and Sly 2 is coming to a close. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys in whatever I do next.